good for us to dial back a little bit and get into this topic by beginning by talking about the two key terms, race and ethnicity. Now, we've talked about this, Marquita and I, that these two terms get used almost synonymously as if they mean the same thing, but they do not. So, what is race, Marquita, according to your definition?
According to my definition, as you would say, I would say that race is, first of all, you hear the term social construct. And that simply means a way that we talk about something. We've all agreed that we're going to talk about this phenomena that happens among human beings. And when we talk about race, the phenomena is variations among groups of human beings that are biologically determined. So when we say race of people, we usually mean biological differences that we use to describe various populations. Now, we do know from biogeneticists that there's no such thing as race. There's no such thing as race because we all carry the DNA. Every human being on the face of the planet carries the DNA of one woman. They've named her Eve and say that she was from the sub-Sahara in Africa and lived about 140,000 years ago. So, in fact, there is one race, human, and we're all actually brothers and sisters. But of course, as most families will tell you, that doesn't necessarily mean there won't be conflict, and so we make those distinctions by how people look and their facial structure, their hair texture, skin color, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. And if we can since you talk about biology and genetics, there's no harm looking in terms of how scientists have grappled with this issue for so many centuries. I was sharing with you the other day that there was a time when scientists were debating the very fact that you just mentioned, are we one human race with variations on the theme in terms of things like hair color, cheekbones, skin tone, melanin, those things? Or, as some people were thinking, were we separate species altogether? It was Charles Darwin that was the first person to say, no, we are one species. And from then, people started examining, well, where do these differences come from, and so forth. But I think the way we talk about race today is complex because it gets muddled with politics. And so the way we categorize race in the US has a lot to do with our history of US census based on immigration populations coming through Ellis Island.
Well, and in fact, it goes much further than that. We first started talking about race and emphasizing it during slavery. And the reason that we wanted to emphasize race during slavery was because we wanted the people who were slaves not to have coalitions with poor whites and other whites. So we made up this notion that white is better than black, and so therefore we will never come together. It's always been political, and it's been here from the start of the country.